Hey guys, gonna be bringing you another how-to video. This time it's gonna be on a Baja Designs fog light kit for a Gen 2 Raptor. The tools that you're gonna need are a ratchet, 15mm socket, 8mm deep socket, 14mm wrench, 14mm socket, the Allen that comes with the kit, and a 10mm wrench. Baja Designs offers 3 different kits for the Gen 2 Raptor: the Sportsman kit, the Pro kit, and the Ultimate kit. All 3 kits are going to come with 4 squadrons and 2 S2s. The difference being the trim levels. They might be either the Sport, the Pro, or a Racer Edition. Those are the 3 trim levels that are offered across all 3 kits. The Sportsman kit retails for $1,000 and has 14,860 lumens combined output. The second kit is the Pro kit. It retails for $1,300 and has 21,860 lumens. And then the third kit, which is the highest trim level that's offered from Baja Designs, is the Ultimate, and that retails for $1,425 and it has 23,300 lumens. Neither of the 3 kits is street legal, so you can't use them as regular running fog lights. They're too bright. So if you're going to be off-roading and if you could afford it, just go for the Ultimate kit. It's definitely the brightest. The Ultimate kit, which is what I'm going to be reviewing here and installing because that's what I have, comes with 2 Racer Editions squadrons, 2 Squadron Pros, and 2 S2 Pros. So the Ultimate kit comes with the Racer Edition. This has 4,300 lumens and is a spot lens, so this shoots down the trail the furthest. The second squadron is the Pro. This comes with 4,900 lumens and is a driving combo, so this is just a flood of light everywhere. And then the S2 Pro has 2,450 lumens, and this is a wide cornering light. You guys have to watch how you wire everything. You could wire it. You could wire this onto your auxiliary switches, 3 different switches, or 2 different switches, or wire them all together. I have mine set up for 2 different switches, and you have to be careful with the wiring. You may or may not need a relay depending on how you choose to wire it, because every auxiliary switch that come with the Raptors has either 15 amps, 10 amps, or 5 amps. So you don't want to keep blowing. You don't want to wire it into the wrong switch and keep blowing out your fuse. The Racer Edition combined comes with 5.8 amps, or requires 5.8 amps. The Squadron Pros require the same 5.8 amps, and then the S2 Pros require 3.4 amps. So for the 18 and up Raptors, this could work for
auxiliary 1 or 2,
and this could work through switch 4 or 5. I'm sorry, 5 or 6. If you want them wired all together, it's going to be right at the limit of 15 amps. So you would need switch 1 or 2 if you're going with the Ultimate kit. I'll have a pop-up come up for you guys to show you the different specs on all the 3 trim levels from the Sport, the Pro, and the Racer Edition to help you guys with the wiring. I'll show how many amps each light requires and the lumen output of each light as well. With this bracket, you want to install it this way. If you have the wing flipped forward, your lights are more recessed into the bumper. If you have the wing portion of this bracket flipped like this, the lights stick out onto the bumper. So I went ahead and mounted everything. This is how it goes. I try to scoot them as much forward. All right, guys, let's get to the install. All right, first, guys, you're gonna want to mount you're gonna want to slide the bolt with the 14mm head and the washer through the bracket that's for the light. Just make sure the wing's to the back, and now mount the bracket itself. You got to get the bolt in through first because you won't be able to afterwards. All right, now go ahead and mount the side screws with the Allen head on it. I like to have the light as far forward as possible. Good time. 16. That it?
Lights mounted. Okay.
All right, now that we got the fog lights all mounted up, next step is going to be working on this brace here for the front bumper. You're going to want to completely remove this side and then just loosen up the other side. Just want to loosen that. You just want to loosen that so it gets out the way. Okay, now we're going to bring over the full Baja Designs kit, and we're going to mount it onto the lower hole here and the upper hole right there. We're going to be using all the hardware that comes with the Baja Designs kit. Okay, once both of those are in, you're going to want to tighten them. All right, now go ahead and tighten the brace for the bumper back up on both sides.
Wow.
All right, now we're just gonna go on to the other side, and it's gonna be the same process. Okay, we're gonna use this pigtail connector to hook it up to the two squadrons. The cornering light's gonna remain on its own. Just like that. All right, next guys is gonna be hooking up the crossover cables, and this is the set of cables that has 3 ends on each side. The connectors coming off the lights themselves on the pigtail that we just attached, they're female ends. We're going to be hooking up the male connector from the crossover cable into one of them. You don't want to get it mixed up. Make sure you hook up the squadron on one side and squadron on the other side, and then for the other cable, do cornering light to cornering light. You don't want to cross them because you're going to blow a fuse. So on this, if you do one at a time, you shouldn't have a problem. For the pigtail ends, we're going to use the squadrons. We're going to hook up the squadrons first. That portion there, the female end, is for the power, so we're not going to touch it. Come over here and hook up the male to female connection. All right, I'll leave that dangling there for the power, and now we're going to do the same thing for the cornering lights. It's going to be the male end into the female end, the light itself. Then this portion here is for the power, that stays. All right, now that that's done, just be careful to keep separate your cornering lights and your squadrons, because they require different amperages, so you don't want to get the power cables plugged into the wrong one. So you don't want to plug your squadrons in to a auxiliary switch that doesn't support the amperage. Now that we're hooking up the power wires, we're going to want to mark one of the ends that hooks up to the top of the engine bay that goes to the auxiliary switches. Just mark one end. That way you know that end is either for your cornering lights or your squadrons, because the squadrons require more amperages than the cornering lights do. So when you hook up to your auxiliary switches for your truck, you don't want to hook up your squadrons to a switch that doesn't have enough power to supply the lights. All right, now I'm going to be pushing the male end down as close as possible to the frame, just like I did with the other one there. Just like that, as close as possible to the frame. And then I'm going to jump down to the bottom and hook up the male ends into the female connectors And again, just make sure you mark what side or what power cables to the squadrons and what power cables to the cornering lights. So my squadrons are marked, I marked them number 5 here. Hook up those two together. And my cornering lights are 6. Okay, so now we're just gonna wire the power wires onto the auxiliary switches. Like I said earlier, I have my number down there, so my number 2 wire, that's gonna be my my squadron lights, the Racer Edition and the Squadron Pro. That's gonna be with my number 2 right here. So these two are gonna go together. Sorry about that. So I'm just gonna crimp these together right here. Just throw that in there. So that's one right there. My cornering lights, I decided to put on auxiliary switch number 5, which is the brown and white wire. And I'll put a little description here of all the colored wires, like what goes to what. Okay, so I have my butt connector here. I'm just gonna put these 2 wires right here. I already have them wired up from earlier or numbered. And this power wire right here is for my cornering lights, and I'm gonna wire these up to my auxiliary number 5 switch. So I'm just gonna throw this end in here, and I'm gonna throw this end in here. Like so. So that's wired up, and don't forget to plug your ground. And I'm just gonna put my grounds for both of these to this bolt back here that I already loosened up. Now we have all that done. Let's go make sure we wired everything correct. Let's turn on the lights. Make sure everything working properly and fine. So let's see if all the wiring works and wired how we want it to. So I turn on my power here. And I wired my cornering lights onto auxiliary number 5. So let's see if auxiliary number 5 works, just the cornering lights. So there you have it, auxiliary number 5, just the cornering lights. Both are on. And I wired up the Racer Edition and the Squadron Pros to auxiliary number 2. There we have it, auxiliary number 2 is just for the Racer Edition and the Squadron Pros. Both are on. Just for good measures, I'm going to turn both on just to make sure they both work at the same time. And there you have it, guys. All 3 are on at the same time. Well, 6. So it looks like we did everything right. So now I'm just going to wait for it to get a little bit darker, and I'm going to show you guys how to adjust the beam of the light. All right, now that it's dark, I'm going to be able to adjust all the lights here. I'm going to start with the inside lights first. I came to a flat surface and a wall. I'm about 20 feet away from the wall. I'm going to start right here at about 20 feet. Then I'm going to scoot it back probably 40 or 50 feet. And then just leave it at that, tighten everything up. And that'll be it. So I'm going to start with the inside ones first and work my way out. As you can see, they're all out of focus of where they should be. So my goal here is going to be to do it to where there's no gap in the lighting. So right here are the headlights, then this is going to be my spot, and this is going to be my driving combo. I'm going to start with the spot, and I want to kind of narrow this gap right here at 20 feet and then see how it looks back over at 40 or 50 feet. And the height, I'm going to be shooting for right in the middle of the headlight. So the middle of this beam should be right in the middle of what the headlights are at. So there's that Racer Edition. This is the Racer Edition here. I'm gonna do the other side now. Trying to see how everything lines up in line with the headlights, the headlight beam. There are my Racer Edition spotlights. Now I'm gonna move to the Squadron Pro driving combo, which is gonna be this beam up there and this one there. All right, that's gonna be it for both sets of squadrons. Now I'm gonna move on to the cornering lights. Now that I have a good baseline of where I want the lights, I went back to the first wall and I'm further out now. They're a little bit higher than I want, so I'm gonna go ahead and adjust them just a little down and then tighten them up. Okay, I just tightened everything up. Now I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of off-road use. This is where I want it. I'm about 50 feet away from this wall. Stay tuned, guys.
Wow, big difference. Definitely help out. I can see this big old rut right here. Just slow down a bit. Huge difference. The beam just shoots down the trail, no problem. Can drive with confidence. I'm going 665 right now, no problem. Wow. Definitely worth the money. Little expensive, but totally worth it. Drive with confidence with these. Unbelievable. Here's that rut that I didn't see with just my headlights. Simmer down a bit. Trying to avoid the mud, but I can only do so much. Then you just send the shit. They bark. They bark.